You have spent hours on your resume. You finally found the perfect job. You hit submit and you've heard nothing back. Here's what usually happens. A piece of software reads your resume before any human has a chance to. It has scored you and ranked you, and you are now below like the first page and recruiters can't see you. So the software that we're talking about is called an applicant tracking system. There's a lot of them. They commonly referred to as ATS. We have some newer ATS systems, and we also have some older ones, and we will talk about how to account for those in this. So today we're going to cover three things. We're going to talk about how the ATS scores you, a keyword strategy that you can use tonight, and then we'll do a live demonstration with Gemini to show you how you can do this for yourself. So we are Google Developer Group Pittsburgh. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are your organizers. I am Amanda Plashall, and here are my credentials. And let's just dive right in. About 98% of Fortune 500 companies will run applications through an ATS. 88% of employers will admit that qualified and capable candidates get filtered because they don't match the job description exactly. 73% of hiring managers say that they would pass on a qualified candidate because of resume formatting. So the modern ATS systems rank and store resumes, and they very rarely auto-reject. The real enemy is volume, plus low keyword matching, which buries you on page 10, where, like I said, the recruiter isn't looking there. But there's hope. So let's get inside the machine here. When you upload your resume, it runs through 4 steps. Text extraction, and the system reduces your file to raw text. This is where most resumes die. Tables, multi-column layouts, text box headers. If your resume looks like any of these pictured here, then your data is going to get scrambled and you're not going to be seen. Section 2 is section detection. The parser scans for standard headings, and if you got creative and started using my professional journey instead of my experience, skills, things like that, it's going to bounce you. It doesn't recognize you, and it's not going to score you. So step 3 is entity recognition. The modern platforms use natural language processing to extract titles from companies, company names, dates, skills, credentials, etc. The newer systems are systematic. They know that certain terms are correlated with certain like acronyms. So for example, the newer systems will know that revenue growth and ARR expansion are related. The older ones need exact matches. So we're going to plan for both of those just to be safe. Step 4 is going to be a score. So based on the keywords, the experience, your skills, your education, resumes that rank low are never seen. Now let's talk about how to get ranked higher. One of the things that we want to remember is that these ATS systems can be invasive. They aren't just looking at your resume, but they're looking at your digital footprint. They're looking at your LinkedIn, they're looking at your Facebook, they're looking at all of your socials. And you may be applying for more than one job on the same ATS system. So if your job title changes, like say your resume says sales associate at Kmart, and on LinkedIn it says manager at Kmart, that is an inconsistency that the ATS is going to notice, and it's going to flag you for inconsistency, and you'll get disqualified. So staying consistent is very important. So what moves your score? We mentioned before that these systems are going to filter you before a human even reads it. You're going to go through a tracking system parser, a keyword and systematic engine, and an AI sourcing layer. Each one is independent of its own. So what does this mean? So these weights are not, they're not law, they're not like consistent across all of the ATSs, but these are kind of like a general rule of thumb, so you'll know where you need to spend the most of your energy with your resume. So I'm probably guess that keyword is going to be the biggest lever. And that is overlap between what the posting asks for and what your resume says, both exact and semantic. About 25% is job title fit and years of experience. You can't always change these, but you can phrase your titles and progression in a more favorable and honest light. The skills section is about 20%, and that's why it's a dedicated skill blocks. They matter. One concentrated place where the ATS can find all of your tools, your certifications, all the things that you know how to do. And the formatting is the last 20%. And that we can fix tonight. And we're going to show you, we're going to provide you with a one sheet at the end that will have a lot of this information in it. So these are your high value zones for your resume. Your professional summary is the highest priority zone. The ATS reads this first and weighs it heavily. It should read naturally while containing very critical keywords. If you fix one section tonight, this one should be it. The skills section is your concentrated keyword block, and that should go right below your summary. And then your most recent experience bullets comes next. And you're gonna like keep the ones that carry the most important keywords for that particular job on the top. So this is kind of the step by step we're going to kind of go through tonight. We're going to extract the keywords, we're going to map them on the resume, and then we're going to place them in there. And this is probably where you're going to spend the most time. So you're going to extract the posting, the job description that you want. You're going to copy that. And you're going to copy the requirements and the responsibilities and make sure you read it very thoroughly. So anything that is listed twice is going to be very important, and it's going to be a must-have. So the job title is a keyword too. Don't forget that. So we're not guessing at what the keywords are. We're going to use the actual job description to get us there. And like I said, we're going to show you how to do this systematically with Gemini in a few minutes. So the next thing is we're going to match each must-have keyword to the actual evidence in your resume. If you can't find a match, that's a gap, and it's useful to know. And the critical rule is to use the exact phrasing from the posting. Because like I said earlier, the older systems need that exact match. They have to do it literally. The next step is going to place your keywords. So your top 5 to 8 keywords go in your summary, and at least one bullet each should have a keyword. Plus the skills section should have a keyword. Include both the acronym and the full term. So if you have a lot of experience in SEO, you're going to use SEO and search engine optimization, because some of these systems look for the acronym, but they also are looking for the full term. So we're going to remember that even with the right keywords, you can get filtered. So we talked earlier about how your resume is going to get kind of broken down into rich text, which means you're going to lose your headers, your footers, any images that you have. So if you have put keywords in the headers or the footers, those are gone. If you list the same term 3 or more times, this can trip a spam flag. Well, you don't want to do that. So make sure that you're not using them too much. using the synonym when the posting uses the specific phrase. So if the posting uses search engine optimization, do not reduce it to SEO. Keep it as search engine optimization. And this was a fun trick when we had it, but we can't use it anymore. Hiding keywords in an image. Images get stripped, so you're not going to have that, that little trick anymore. So the golden rule is each keyword should be used once or twice and in context. So we're not going to just throw them randomly throughout our resume. So we're going to be going into our demo now. So how do you do this? And I'm going to give you a little bit of information before I actually show you. So everything we just described can be done in Gemini in about 10 minutes per application. That changes so much. You can go through so many more applications in a night now instead of just 2 or 3. So we're going to go to Gemini.Google.com, and the free tier is going to be enough for what we want to do today. The advanced version will handle longer resumes, especially if you're applying a lot, but you don't need to pay right now. And in a moment, I'm going to show you 4 copy and paste prompts. Those are going to be in our handout at the end of the presentation, and they're engineered to produce an ATS handout or output that's ready to go through the system. And each one does a job in the pipeline. If you want them on paper, like I said, if you want them on paper, we're going to have a QR code at the end, and it's a little cheat sheet for you. So you don't have to scribble trying to keep up with me. So these are the 4 prompts. One is intelligence gathering. This is where you're going to take the whole job description and you're going to copy it. And you're going to ask Gemini to extract every required and preferred skill, tool, certification, and keyword ranked by frequency. Should probably take, less than a minute compared to like hours doing that by yourself, highlighting it by hand. So the second prompt is the professional summary, and in 3 sentences, under 80 words, weaving in the top 5 keywords for this specific job. And you'll notice I added do not invent anything. Don't put a number in there if you cannot attribute it. That will get noticed. The third prompt upgrades your bullets into challenge, action, result with real metrics that you provide in your resume or in an additional prompt to Gemini. And it will ask you for actual numbers instead of like fabricating them. Prompt 4 is the quality check. Gemini acts as an ATS scanner for you, and it scores you and lists the top 3 things that you need to fix. Feel free to screenshot this, take a picture with your phone, but we're going to be leaving this slide very shortly and moving on. But again, there's a one sheet at the end. So the 4th prompt, you can use something called the dual window method, or 2 agents at the same time. One agent is going to be your career expert. And you have a prompt here that kind of sets up, hey, this is who you are. This is what you're going to do. It's going to be optimistic, constructive. It's going to tailor the resume and write the bullets. Window 2 is going to be your critical recruiter, and it's going to be skeptic and critique every weak bullet and vague claim and missing keyword. So you're going to send this cycle, you're going to send your resume through this cycle a couple of times. And when it finally passes the scrutiny, then you have something that should pass through the ATS system flawlessly. So again, big rule here, and this is very important, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face: always verify the metrics that any AI generated metric that gets produced. Never let AI invent a number and submit it as yours. So I am going to be leaving this slide deck, and I am going to go into Gemini. And I'm going to do a rundown of this process. So actually, I'm going to share my window so that I can jump in between. So here is just a generic job description, and we are going to use our prompt. And we're going to insert that into. So I'm going to start with step 1, which is keyword extraction. So here is our prompt, and I'm going to copy our job description. I'm going to insert it here where it says paste job description. And just kind of make sure that it got everything. And you'll see this last sentence says, list every required and preferred skill, tool, certification, and keyword, rank them by how often they appear. And here is the breakdown. So the second prompt is the summary rewrite. So we're going to paste this in here, and we have a sample resume. And it says here that this is the plain text version. All of the headers and footers have been removed. And so you can see what gets scrambled and kind of unreadable. So copy that, and I'm going to put this into the little place where it says paste. And then here it says paste your job description. So we're going to do that. And then it says rewrite my summary in 3 sentences with the top 5 keywords and under 80 words. There it is. That was almost instantaneous. So there we go. So step 3 is rewriting the bullets as challenge, action, and result. So we're going to copy that and put it into our prompt window. And then we're going to list the keywords. Oh, goodness. Include these keywords. Okay. Well, here's something that they did not include. So let's try this first. We're going to list the keywords in a bulleted list. So here we go. We're going to copy those. And then we're going to go back here and we're going to copy the challenge one. And we're going to put these in here. So here is something that we can copy and paste into our resume. Now, step 4 is act as an ATS scanner. So here is the resume after it's been added. It's been updated. We can see that the name is here, email, phone number, LinkedIn. We have the professional summary, the skills, the experience. And let's just take these and put them in here. Oh, these are already in here. Okay, so we're going to take this. So we're going to copy all of this. And paste it after the prompt. And it should give us, we have a 92 out of 100. So just to kind of compare, let's see what the first resume went down to. So here's the first resume. And we'll see what it gets scored. It scored a 35 out of 100. So the first one was 35 out of 100. And just by using Gemini for 3 prompts actually, we raised it to a 92. So that's actually pretty cool. So we're going to go back here and continue because we are kind of running out of time a little bit. So as you can see, that was really quick, copy paste. There's a PDF that you can grab and it will have all of those prompts in there. And we're just going to finish up here. These are the top 10 mistakes that people typically make that cause their scores to drop. Tables and columns, generic summary with no keywords. There's fancy PDF with graphics. And of course, if it's fully written by AI, then it typically gets flagged as well. So here are the 5 things that you can do tonight to fix your resume. First, pick a job, run it through Gemini, and get all those keywords extracted. Next is check your format. Make sure that it's in plain text and there's no images and no headers. Next, you're going to ask Gemini to rewrite the summary. And that's step 3. Top 5 keywords under 80 words. Then you're going to ask Gemini to run your ATS audit. There's multiple free websites that you can use to validate that audit. Some of them are listed here: JobScan, Resume Worded, Enhance V. So you can check all of those before you submit. So here is the QR code. It has the Gemini prompts. It has the extract, map, place, and keyword zones, and a 10-point checklist. so that you can get started tonight. We did not include in this one sheet about the consistency. So we just want to remind you to make sure that you're consistent. So make sure that if you have sales associate at Kmart on your resume, that your LinkedIn has a very similar job description and you haven't been, lead manager or something that doesn't have evidence or proof of you kind of rising in the ranks. So that is going to be an inconsistent thing that will flag the ATS systems. It doesn't have to be exact, but it does have to be very similar. So here are some questions. If anybody has any questions, pop them in the chat. Some of the questions, is doing this dishonest? I would say no. This is a tool. All of your experience and the skills that you have are already listed in your resume. This is just a tool like Grammarly or spell check. Everything that you've done up until now is yours. This is just like a writing workshop without the extra people. Does it need to be 1 page? 2 pages is fine, and expected if you have more than 5 years of relevant experience. So if you have been in the same position or the same, like multiple companies, but the same kind of work for over 5 years, then you're probably going to have a little bit longer of a resume, and you'll need to because of all the experience that you have. Will applying twice get me auto rejected? I guess most systems just mark it as a duplicate, like the second time. If you haven't heard anything, it never hurts to reach out. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Hey, I applied on this date and on this date, if it was an accident or whatever, you can explain, but just say, I haven't heard anything. Do you have any updates on this position? Are Canva templates safe? I'm going to say no. There's so many things on Canva, like that any of the templates that you use on Canva, they're going to get flagged because they have columns, they have images, they have colors, they have, things like that. So they'll most likely get flagged. So it's probably safe to just use one single column in Google Docs, and, a PDF if you are handing it directly to a human. How do you find keywords with no specific job? Well, in the past we would Google it, but now we have Gemini, and Gemini can get you the top 20 keywords on one screen without having to jump between a bunch of different links. So I would say ask Gemini for the top 20 ATS keywords for whatever the role in the industry is that you're looking at. And again, should my LinkedIn match my resume exactly? Not exactly, but it should be very consistent, not identical, but your dates should line up, your titles should line up, your companies should line up. And I think those would probably be the most important things that should line up to avoid any inconsistencies. So does anyone else have any questions? We are right at 30 minutes, so that was awesome. I learned a lot by putting this together, and it was really fun. So we're going to say thank you. And we'll go back to the previous slide so that you can grab the QR code before you leave. And also, we will be putting this up on our YouTube channel. So Andres has also put the link to the document in the chat. So we will also be putting everything up on our YouTube channel. So if you weren't able to make it tonight, then you will be able to grab all this information in a day or two. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck out there. And feel free to stop in and drop a comment to let us know how your job search is going. We'd love to see if any of this helped. So thank you again, and have a wonderful night.